name situation. I think that's very educational because there are a lot of Muslims who don't even understand this.
So I'm very particular about my name because I think it's important for me to keep my father's name because I want that legacy to stay alive, at least with me. And of course, I will adopt my husband's name at the same time. So I wanted the best of both worlds. I don't want to give up one for the other.
Is interesting. So basically, the British system is where I don't know if, historically speaking, if they adopted this system or they initiated this name change. But I like the idea that you have kept this. And I think now that you're on this show, and it's a global issue, our people all over the world can understand this. Now that we're talking about this, why do you keep your father's name?
Because I think I want his legacy to be kept alive, at least with me. I know my brothers will take on his name and that will move on, but I wanted as his daughter, I'm the only daughter in my family, so I wanted to keep that name so that his legacy and his name will continue.
And you also add the husband name.
Yes.
Now, that brings me to the next point, that a lot of people, I don't think they realize that they do not have to change their father's name. They do not have to change their father's name when they get married. They can add it. I mean, not add it, sorry. They can add their husband's surname to their name, as you have. Naima Khan is your dad's name, and Ghani is your husband's name.
Yes.
And in some cases, people don't even need to add their husband name.
Right, they can
There
just
is no
adopt their
law
own.
in Islam that says when a woman gets married, she has to add the name. Now that brings me to all these passport applications that go on in the Western world when they ask you of your surname. And do you know sometimes you apply for visas and they'll ask you for your father's name and your mother's name. Islam is so very interesting to understand the history of name change. Now that brings us to another point. So if a woman has to remarry, she's going to have to add all these husbands' names?
I guess that's going to be a personal opinion.
No,
a
because
choice for her.
I have seen that happen. I have interviewed people, and this was their name. They changed their dad's name. They add one husband name.
And they kept adding.
Then they add another husband name. And I'm like, what is that name? And then this was the second husband. And I'm like, okay. But they don't go further.
So I guess the name tells a story of their lifeline, you know. And I wanted to follow my mom as being my role model. She kept her maiden name and her married name and hyphenated it. So I sort of did the same.
But it's interesting because I think out there, because Islam is so universal, once upon a time, people just lived very British style, what went on in the country, monkey see, monkey do, not realizing there is no need to change your name, number one. Yes, you can add the husband name. Two, you don't even have to, because remember, in the Islamic world before, it just does not happen so much in the West, but in the Islamic world. And I really want our viewers to understand this. You know, husband died, the wife remarries, that husband divorced, the wife remarries. Now, are you going to be changing all these names? Not at all. See, the point I'm getting at, look how beautiful Islam is. It is so realistic, it is so practical that a wife becomes the wife of the husband, but she has a choice to add the name or not to add the name. So it does not confuse her after, because I really don't think a second husband might like calling her first wife, his wife, by her first husband's name. Do you think?
I don't think that would be appropriate.
So. But the point I'm getting at, don't you see how beautiful Islam is?
It is.
Wow, it is so realistic. And it's nice to know that you live up to this. That is really now